Before we get to this wonderful book, A Simple Government, you were outraged at the president's decision, I think it was a legal decision, that the Defense of Marriage Act is indefensible in the courts under the standards that the courts would apply to it. Was he right or was he wrong to say we're not going to waste any more money or time defending it?
I'm not a lawyer. I think he was legally wrong, but I think more importantly he was politically wrong and he was morally wrong. He was wrong on every front. And interestingly, chapter 1 of my book talks about why issues like marriage and family matter. The very first chapter is that the most basic form of government is the family. This is where we first experience government at its most local level. It's not the city, the state, or the federal government. It's mother and father raising children. That is government.
Can families be non-traditional? And if they're non-traditional, is it any business of the federal government?
Well,
Can you have two women or two men raise a child?
Well, here's the question. What is marriage? Marriage is a man and a woman. That's what it is historically. That's what it is legally. If we change the definition to accommodate a man and a man or a woman and a woman, then why can't we accommodate a man and two women or a women and three men?
Let me run this past you. Marriage is a contract. It's an agreement between two people whose hearts have joined together. What business is that of the government?
The business of government is to ensure that we have the most stable society because we have a $300 billion a year debt deficit in this country. That's in chapter 1. I talk about the fact that this is an economic issue. As a libertarian judge, you got to love the fact that we're spending a lot of government money to pick up the pieces because fathers don't do their duty.
I don't love the fact. I love the fact that you've exposed the fact that we're wasting all that money.
Well, and here's another issue, poverty. 2/3 of the children in America who are in poverty would not be in poverty if the mothers of those children were married to the fathers of those children.
None of that has anything to do with allowing a same-sex couple down the block to live together and to be married. Question, do conservatives care about the couple down the block?
Yes, they do.
Why?
Not that they care
Why
what
do they want to get in their bedroom?
No. They don't want to get in their bedroom. They definitely don't want to get in their bedroom. They don't want to see what's going on in that bedroom, but I'll tell you what they want to do. They want to make sure that we have an institution called marriage that really does mean historically that you have a mother and a father because children need the benefit. And one of the things that I argue for, and I think people when they see this in the book they're going to recognize it, there is a role that a father plays that is different than the role that a mother plays. The ideal relationship for a child is given both.
This is the preacher in you, not the governor in you. The governor in you said in this great book, the Constitution limits the federal government just to the powers that are granted to it. And I don't see marriage in the Constitution.
Well, you don't see traffic lights either, but we have them.
But they're not regulated by the federal government, or they shouldn't be.
Well, they are. But
well, that's because the feds don't recognize any restraint on themselves.
A discussion we've had before, there is a natural law that supersedes even constitutional and statutory law. That natural law that says that it is wrong to murder, to steal. Now, we encapsulate that, but you know what? There's nothing in the Constitution that says you can't murder. That's a state law.
But the natural law also says it's none of the government's business who someone loves, who someone lives with. You didn't need the government's permission to marry Janet. Why does Steve need the government's permission to marry Bruce?
Because marriage is not two men. Marriage is a man and a woman.
To you, marriage is not two men. To Steve and Bruce, it's two men.
It is to God. It is to 6,000 years of recorded human history. There is no human history in which that same-sex relationship, if you want to call it a civil union, that's a legitimate argument. Don't call it marriage.
You don't like the word. You don't like calling what you have with Janet the same thing that Steve and Bruce have.
I don't like calling one thing that it isn't. I don't like calling a cat a dog a cat. I don't like calling a man a woman or a woman a man.
If you became the President of the United States, would you use your bully pulpit to address this, or would you use your powers under the Constitution to address this?
Well, I think that the President uses both. The primary, remember, here's the goal. I would use both, but let's understand why. The why is more important because what you want is to create a good government. If you have families that are dysfunctional, broken, and totally falling apart, that's going to be reflected in every level of government upon which that government is built.
Okay, I thought we wanted simple government and small government, not good government that is big government.
The most simple government of all. I challenge people, read this, tell me how you can possibly, because the most simple government is a mother and a father raising their own kids without the government raising them and without the government paying for them.
A father and a father raising a kid without the government saying, thou shalt not.
Then the child is deprived of the role of the mother and the unique role that the mother plays, which is not the same as the father.